Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the 2025 Ward 4 City Council Forum. My name is Tony Chanella. I'm a senior local editor with Patch.com and the editor of the Concord, New Hampshire Patch News and Community website. We are here in the glorious Concord TV studios at Concord High School. Thank you once again to all of the volunteers as well as the staff here for letting us put this program on for you. We've been doing this for about 10 years, and I can tell you I'm exceedingly grateful, even though I have a face for radio, of that being able to produce this for you. We're going to meet two of the three candidates who are seeking the open Ward 4 City Council seat. We have Mark Davey and Jeffrey Garrett Tynes here. Elijah Wilson at the last minute was unable to attend. Mark, we're going to go with you. You have 1 minute opening statement.
Hi, my name is Mark Davey, and I'm running for the Ward 4 City Council seat. Thank you to Tony and Mike and Josh. So sorry. Cool. The Concord TV staff for having us, and to Garrett for everyone's time. I'm running because although rents are not necessarily climbing anymore, we are still at a 1% vacancy rate, so our housing crisis is far from over. I am running because I believe that more than just Main Street deserve to be safe and inviting places to walk and just be in Concord. And I want to bring a new, different voice to the city's master plan. So I hope you'll join me at the polls on November 4th for Ward 4.
Thank you so much. Garrett, 1 minute.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Garrett Tynes, and I'm running for your Ward 4 City Councilor. I have been living in Concord for about 8 years now. I've been in the same place on Main Street, and I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. I came here from California, and I just fell in love with New England and want to participate more in giving back to the people of Concord. I've been a prosecutor for about 4.5 years now, and I've been trying to give back to my community in that capacity. And now I'm asking for you to allow me to give back in the capacity as a Ward 4 City Councilor. I see three major issues that I'd like to address. One, the walkability of our city. North Main Street needs to be addressed. The crosswalks need to be fixed. And additionally, we need to start looking at how to deal with the homelessness problem and allowing law enforcement to enforce laws in Concord. I would address that with my background as a prosecutor and do everything I can to give back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Garrett, let's start with you first. Housing is one of the biggest problems facing the city, but officials have been working on it with developers when they can. About 300 new rental units have been placed in the market, with more on track. I think it's going to be close to about 2,000 when all is said and done over the next 8 years. However, there are limited options for most of the city's residents. And when I say this, I mean the ones who are in the median income range. So we've built a lot of units for people who make under 60, and we built a lot of units for people who can afford $3,000 a month or a single family home for $700,000. But kind of the rest of us in this 60 to 100 range, maybe 60 to 80 or 90 range, there isn't much available, or they're spending over a third of their income, closer to 40%, to pay for the rent. What can be done to ensure that new rental units are accessible to most of the city's residents if you are elected?
So I know that the Concord Master Plan is to be addressed in the next couple of years, and that's something that I would look towards helping amend so that we can allow more housing developments to be built in Concord. We do have the land for it. We don't have to only make high-value apartment buildings downtown. We've had the church in Ward 4 converted to rental units. I looked at it as a joke. They were about $3,500 a piece when I looked last, and that's just not attainable for the folks in the median, like myself included. I'm a renter in Ward 4, and I would like to own a home someday. So amending that plan to allow the construction of additional housing would be something that I would look towards doing if elected as the Ward 4 City Councilor. And additionally, if we increase the amount of housing available, I believe expanding the tax base would allow us to reduce maybe not reduce, but maintain taxes. Because when looking to buy a home, not just the mortgage is something that we need to look at, it's the property tax, and that's pricing people out of buying a home. So those are two main things I would do to address that problem.
Thank you. Mark?
I have a couple zoning strategies. I think it would be really neat if Concord became the first municipality in New Hampshire, if not New England, to do pre-approved plans. The idea being that the city compiles a list of quite literally pre-approved structures. There's a catalog of designs, of accessory dwelling units or row homes or starter homes or like any type of housing solution. And a developer can take, or just someone who owns a parcel in town can take that to the planning department and say, I want to build this. I know this will get approved with the city. Can I please build this? And it'll get approved. I think another strategy we can lean into is I know long-term the plan is to redo the zoning ordinance after the master plan, but for the time being, I think we can play with the city's planned unit development component of the zoning, which is where Concord allows or requires a mix of different types of units when you do a planned unit development, meaning single-family homes and some affordable units and potentially some senior units. So I think there's some work we can do there.
Let me, as a quick follow-up, that's an interesting idea. And the first one, who would pay to set up all those plans first? Would you?
It would just be part of the redoing the zoning.
Okay, so you would have the city would come up with the idea of this could be built here and then find the developer?
Not with one developer. It's heavy community engagement to figure out what is the look that's appropriate for the neighborhood or the city.
But you would need to have an architect, in other words, is what I'm saying. I mean, you couldn't just...
Potentially.
Yeah, okay.
Potentially.
But how would you fund that, though?
It would just be part of zoning. Like, it would be part of, like, the master plan update and, like, all the money the city would spend on the zoning update.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Mark, let's go with you. During the last budget cycle, I heard from many residents who were clamoring for property tax relief, but didn't really receive it. The best that the council could do was lower the tax rate request by 1%. And that was after 6 hours of debate. Some people may have unfairly called that a clown show, but others were pretty angry about the fact that we're about to see a reevaluation of all the properties, and the best that they could do after 6 hours was to limit it to 3%. What assets do you bring to the table, one, to streamline the budget process or create a different process? And what would you do to ensure that there's actual taxpayer relief in fiscal 2027? Without all the meaningless, unending debate over virtually nothing?
Yeah, I think with my background in planning, city planning in New Hampshire, I think there's a lot to work with the capital improvements plan that the city is supposed to do every so often. Not every municipality chooses to do a capital improvement plan, so I think Concord's already sort of ahead there. I'm interested to see how we can diversify the tax base and bring more businesses to Concord in all different types, all different income brackets, maybe not just the ones that serve tourism downtown, but more neighborhood type businesses that people can run errands, or for people to run errands to.
Thank you.
Yes.
Garrett, same question to you.
So there's a lot of questions. That's what we might refer to as a compound question, but
Two.
Still two. It's something I think needs to be addressed is bringing more diverse businesses to Concord. We discussed this at the last forum, but it seems like in Concord, once you hit 8 o'clock, the sidewalk kind of rolls up and all of downtown is a ghost town. So there has been talk about introducing social districting to Concord, or just to New Hampshire in general. That just passed the statewide. But I think that'd be an interesting way to kind of bring more people to Concord by allowing that social districting downtown, and to potentially add more businesses and different types of businesses. So by introducing more young working families and introducing more businesses, I think we can diversify the tax base without having to argue about how much we're going to raise taxes next year. Because like I had mentioned before, the tax rate is almost something that's keeping me from buying a home at this time, because after I factor in a mortgage, I can't add that extra on each month, and it's becoming unobtainable to buy a home in Concord as a working family.
Sure. Real quick as a follow-up, because you are in criminal justice, are you concerned about any of the criminal liability or issues with the proposal?
So I did actually speak with an officer from the Concord PD recently, because I was curious what their thoughts are, one, on making it a social district. And of course, there's a lot of logistics to plan out, but as long as you're not walking around with a 40-ounce of malt liquor and causing trouble, I think that we can make it so that it's a feasible way to revitalize, maybe not revitalize, it's not dead, but to vitalize it a little bit more without introducing any new criminal liability. It could be done.
Thank you. Garrett, this question is for you. Crimes by the homeless have skyrocketed in the city to the point where last year, the homeless made up of 1/3 of all arrests in Concord. That's up from 20% 2 years ago. Granted, arrests went down a little bit last year too, compared to the previous year. Most of the crimes might be considered frivolous, camping violations, trespassing, but also theft. However, at the same time, many are serious. Arson, felons in possession of weapons, shootings, drug dealings. What can be done more on the city council level to solve some of these problems?
So something I said before is just allowing law enforcement to enforce laws. I think enforcing the camping ordinance is a great way to start. My home on North Main Street, I've had tents set up in my backyard, and as a renter, I was unable to actually do anything about it because I didn't own the property. So perhaps allowing them to expand that would be something that can be done for those, I don't want to say frivolous, like you said, but the minor offenses versus the felons and possessions, the shootings we see. But there are certain camps that are setting up around the town, and they become just open air drug markets, and that's where these crimes are happening. Like we had the park on Manchester Ave that we recently cleared out, but there is a lot of crime developing there. And when we have these different camps setting up, there's one behind the methadone clinic on Hall Street right now, and allowing those to brew and fester is just allowing more crime to happen. So preventing those sites from developing into something unsavory, and then being able to enforce the laws that we do have in place, I think is a way to address that. I do have further thoughts, but I won't take any more of your time.
Sure, thank you. Mark, same question to you.
I think the work the police department has done in bringing in social workers it sounds to me like it's done a lot for building a rapport with some of that community and ultimately bringing the cost and volume of calls down. So it sounds like they're already making plans to expand that program within the police station redevelopment. So I'm interested to see what they can do there.
Cool, thank you. Mark, this question is for you. Some in the city think there should be a sanctioned homeless camp with social workers, police, and EMTs stationed at the camp, all paid for by taxpayers. Do you support this proposal? And at the same time, will you work, if you are elected, to get other communities like Bow, Loudoun, Hopkinton, and or the county to play a larger role in taking care of the homeless in our region?
Of course. I think it is a tool in the toolbox. There's clearly a lot of research to be done on it in New England and New Hampshire. I don't think it should be the only solution, but yes, I broadly support it. I'm not seeing a lot of other concrete solutions otherwise being proposed. I'm seeing a lot of committee report. And I think as for other communities, if other communities want to step up and help, they can. But I just think Concord is a little bit more resourced. And to Councilor Schulz's point in the previous panel, I caught the end of that. I don't know that the state is doing enough for Concord being the state capital. So I would want to see a little bit more stepping up on that end.
Thank you. So just to be clear, you would support the sanctioned campground?
Yes.
Okay, you would. And so would you have voted to clear Healy Park out after several shootings, a machete attack, at least 2 rapes that I knew of in a park that was closed to the public, and also people who were in danger of drowning due to water levels from the river coming into the wetlands setback where some of the campgrounds were? Would you have voted for that?
I wasn't there. I can't totally speak to that. I think it was Councilor Brown in that panel that said that was a reactive measure from the city rather than a proactive one, and I would agree with that statement. I think it shouldn't have come to that. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Garrett, same question for you. Yes or no on the homeless camp? Mm-hmm. Should more of the other communities do something? And we'll follow up with the Healy Park.
Sure. So I would vote against setting up a sanctioned campsite. The idea is not a bad one. It's a little idealistic. It's just that it can't be monitored the way that people want it to be. We don't have the resources to have a constant hall monitor at a campsite like this. And any type of large campsite that I've seen develop has turned afoul. And I don't see any place in Concord where we could have a sanctioned homeless camp set up that would not lead to something, like you said, in Healy Park, we had a lot of issues there. And I think that any type of sanctioned open air campground is going to turn to something to that effect. What I do think, sorry if I was cutting you off, but what I do think we should be putting resources into is maybe providing sober housing in Concord, not just a field to set up a tent. I work with the recovery court at the Merrimack Superior Court, and one of the biggest struggles we have is finding places for people to live when they get into the program. So providing a sober living facility would be something that allows us to place these people in a stable environment that isn't just putting them in a tent where they can do drugs somewhere.
And you would have voted for the Healy Park
I absolutely
closure?
would have voted to clear out Healy Park at that point. Proactive or reactive, it needed to be done.
Thank you. Garrett, let's go to you. Give us 3 ideas on how you would expand support to expand the tax base in Concord.
So I hate to steal Mark's idea, but I love that pre-planning idea, just to allow.
I do too, frankly.
To make it easier to build houses. Anything to do that is going to, frankly, just easily expand the tax base. You have more people in Concord. You have more people paying that tax. You don't have to raise it for everybody else. So doing that and just not getting in the way of contractors and constructing new homes, I think that's really the best way to do that, is to just provide
2 more ideas.
houses. Yes.
You stole one of Mark's.
I did.
Give us the 2 more. I'm teasing. Good.
But just expanding that housing, and frankly, I've been stuck on that. I don't have 2 other ones for you. I've been just worried about trying to get that done.
Okay. Well, you did say you'd like the social distancing, so you might work on that. Mark, 3 examples to expand the tax base, and you can promote your other idea if you want as a 4th. Because that you got 2 other fans of that, so that's good.
To my earlier report, like accelerating the housing supply, household sizes are on the decline. So I don't think kids in schools are this boogeyman we've made them out to be. But also families deserve to live in Concord and have affordable places to live. So I think any new residents to Concord is a good thing. Diversifying business, another tool for that is zoning. Like I said, in my experience on zoning board, we're getting the same parking and signage applications over and over. They're really hanging up our businesses. So I want, again, to streamline zoning on that front. And I do want to lean into tourism and the arts in Concord. I think Arts Alley, I think that was a smash hit. I think that was really, really cool on Main Street. And we just have so many awesome festivals. It feels like every year I've lived here that someone's added a new one that I just discover. It's really awesome. So, and I think the state has sort of given us a second chance on I-93 and the widening. I think that's going to be really destructive to tourism. So I think we might have a second chance to push back on the widening of 93.
Steve Dupree gets a gold star for that rooftop bar.
I would say
frankly.
so.
I've been a couple of times already. Okay, we're almost out of time, so I'm going to do one quick yes or no, and then we'll go to closing statements. Automatic trash pickup is coming next year, Mark. Should the purple bag tax be ended at that time, and the fees for automatic trash pickup spread on all the taxpayers, or should we still charge for purple bags? Yes or no?
Yes, still charge for bags.
Yes, they'll charge for bags.
Excellent. Okay, we're up against the 30 minutes. Now, those are the 2 guys who are running for Ward 4. Now, let's say Mark spoke first, so Garrett speaks first this time. 1 minute closing statement, Garrett.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching. Again, my name is Jeffrey Garrett Tynes, and I'm running for your Ward 4 City Councilor. I've been here, again, for about 8 years now, and I want to do what I can to give back to you. My 3 biggest issues, again, are the crosswalks on North Main Street. Making the city more walkable is something that I strive towards. I cross that street every day, and I don't take kindly to playing Frogger with traffic. I'd like to stop that. Additionally, we need to deal with the homelessness problem in Concord in any way we can, whether it is through enforcement of the laws or resources being provided there. And then finally, I'd like to make sure that we have more housing in Concord so that the renters in Ward 4 can become homeowners in maybe another ward. But and again, my name is Jeffrey Garrett Tynes, and I would love to have your vote this year, November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark.
My name is Mark Davey, and I'm running for the Ward 4 City Council seat. Once again, I am running for zoning reform that will accelerate our housing supply and breathe some new life into our workforce. I don't think any deaths are appropriate on our roads. It's really unfortunate what happened on Loudon Road a couple weeks ago. And I'm excited, if elected, I would be very excited to be a young renter at the table as we enter a new master plan. So I hope you'll consider me on November 4th.
Those are the 2 of 3 candidates who are going to be on the ballot November 4th. Again, Elijah Wilson could not be here. You have Mark Davey and Garrett Tyne. The voters will go to the polls from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 4th. Information right now can be found at the election section of the city website, and you can check out the Concord, New Hampshire Patch voter guides, which will be up the week before the election. For Concord TV and Concord Patch, I'm Tony Shinella. Thanks for being with us.